Hey, yo, it's your boy Sam Duke.
It's your man, Taylor McHale.
And you are listening to another great episode of You
You
Good, bruh?
good, bruh?
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show today.
Yes,
We
sir.
got something special, and I'm saying it's special because it's gonna be special to me. I think that I've said this before, but for the people that don't listen, this podcast is very much for me and Mikkel just as much as it is for you. We love listening to this just as much as you love listening to it as well. And sometimes we do episodes that that have a real they basically have something going on that relates to what we have going on in life. And I think this past week, something came up on my timeline. And it's funny because I think Mikkel tagged me in it, and I got it from a whole bunch of other people. And so what's interesting about it, as we do this show and we kind of put things out, and I know we haven't put stuff out as consistently in recent days or months, but we will be doing more consistent shows. But people start sending me stuff like, oh, y'all should do a show about this. Y'all should talk about this. Y'all should talk about that. And sometimes I actually, come back on and we do it. And other times I just, was like, okay, well, I may not be the best. I can't find anyone that can kind of speak to some of the stuff. But this right here, I feel like I can speak to very clear, very concise. And I think that is something I relate to. Today, we're going to be talking about what it looks like for a man to get rest, for a man to get rest, to actually be at peace, at rest, and not have anything going on, stopping the grind, actually, coming to a stopping point, trying your best to not overexert yourself or exert yourself at all, rather, in my opinion. The way I'm looking at it is I'm talking about real chill, real rest, a real stopping point. And the reason this resonates with me is because I can be considered a workaholic. And to be honest with you, most guys that I know probably can also fit into that realm. And so I'm gonna before we go into to dive in full, I'm gonna go ahead and play the video that everybody sent me. And I know a lot of you guys have already heard it, but we're gonna play it, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna have this conversation.
You once said when a man says he's tired, pay attention. Mm-hmm. Expound on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the suicide rate amongst men, we're 3 to 4 times as likely to die by suicide than our women. 9 out of 10 people who live to be over 100 are women. Over 70% of homicides are by men in the United States. So long we tell each other, we give each other pounds. Stay strong, brother. Mm-hmm. Subconsciously, that's telling us when we're weak, we're not a man. You can't stay strong. I can just put the bar, a 45-pound Olympic, tell you to hold an Olympic bar out on the bench press. Say, I want you to hold that till tomorrow. You won't. We have to be careful of the misleading mantras that we say. What doesn't kill you can only make you stronger. That's not true. Or everything in moderation. No, listen, an ounce of cyanide will kill you. So we have to be careful how we program ourselves. So when a man is tired, a strong man is tired. When I say believe him, what I mean is welcome him to rest. Allow him to decompress. You're tired, brother. What do you need from me? I don't need to ask you to do something else. You got to understand, when you're like us community servants, no one will ever stop you from helping them. You have to stop yourself. And that's what I mean by that. So many of us, we work past fatigue, again, for that affirmation. It's hard to say no. And that's one of the greatest things I've learned to master is saying no. I can always come back to say yes, but when I say yes first, now I'm committed to something, and then I'm typically operating in frustration. And so now when a strong man tells you he's tired, believe it, and then do something about it to help him rest and recover. If not, just like an athlete, Kevin Durant, for instance, when he went back too soon after the injury.
That's right.
We go right back out after someone gets killed in our family. We expect life to be normal. My mother passed in 2016. I expect just to forget it and keep moving, and it still crushes my heart to this day. No, it takes time. And as brothers, we and sisters, we need to be patient and loving and understanding. And grieving is a lifelong process. Healing is a lifelong process. And as we always say, there's no point of arrival. It's a constant state of evolving, becoming better, becoming better.
Man,
I related to everything he said. I mean, even the part about his mom and and still healing from that. Like it's a constant thing. Like, shout out to the Breakfast Club.
dog. I mean, when I tell you, I listened to that and I was just like, you know how you just have this sigh. You just, oh man,
yeah.
Like,
What's my man's name? Jason.
his name is Jason Wilson. Mr. Jason Wilson.
Yeah, shout out Jason.
I think he's like the martial arts instructor. You've probably seen some of his videos where he's like,
the kids on the dad's back.
Yeah, the kids, all of that. Like I think one kid was trying to break the board and he was like, it hurts. It's like, pain happens, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of have to learn how to fight through pain. And he asked him, why are you crying?
Right.
Kind of thing. And even there's the other one where he's like swinging the thing at the boy's head and the boy is ducking too quick. And he's like, no, there's no threat right here. Basically, he's trying to show him like you have to see when the threat is coming and then react to it.
Right.
Instead of just always reacting super quick. So he teaches some really, really good lessons through martial arts and just his wisdom. And when he said when a man says he's tired, tells you he's tired, pay attention. The first thing that came to mind is like, do we pay attention? That's one. Do we pay attention to the fact that sometimes men will say they're tired, and what is the response that we get from a social standpoint? When I think about like when I tell my wife I'm tired, what does that look like? Is there still, do things stop, or does the assistants come in? Or when I tell, people at my job I'm tired, what does that look like? Or when I tell my boys I'm tired, what does that look like? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I was just kind of thinking about that. I was like, okay, why do we respond the way we respond to a man being tired, right? When you look at the way society looks at it, it's like men are valued by the way that we work, or like what we bring to the table, or how we, it's like when you think about people talk about a good man, what does a good man look like? It's always associated to, what he can do. It's the first.
How much bacon?
Yeah. First, it's always the job, or what does he do? You know what I'm saying? Then it's the he what can he fix?
What does he believe in?
What does he believe in?
Is he Christian? Is he Muslim? Is he Jewish?
And it's like
atheist? Is he anything?
And the fatigue associated with that, and how we deal with the fatigue associated with that. Because there's two things. There is the expectation, which is one piece of it. It's like, okay, we're expected. Like, if men that want to be good men, it's we kind of talked about this in one of our past episodes. It's the pressure that comes along. Even if you want to be a good man, there are things that kind of come down on you to that when it comes to being a man. Because you ask a woman to take on certain things, they'll happily tell you no. Like, I don't want to provide for a family. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? There's no like desire. Sometimes they do it out of necessity, but there's no desire for that. There are some men that desire it, but then the pressure of all of that
makes it debilitating.
Makes it hard.
Yeah.
Makes it hard.
I mean, if you think about it, for me, and I'm really, really, every time I listen to that, I go into myself, into my own mind. I'm processing it. But the thing is it is about what society responds to that, to the man saying he's tired. But what I pay more attention to is how the man that says it is responding to it. Like, he'll say that he's tired, but he'll still keep going. Like, he won't take the break himself. He won't be like, you know what, fuck y'all, I'm taking a break. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's so ingrained that the person saying it himself can't even, set the boundary and take charge of it because he feels compelled. Like, I can't take this break because, that's so. And this is what kind of leads where I feel like it kind of leads to suicide because it's a miserable life.
Yeah.
It's a miserable life, and the person is seeing it every day, and they can't escape it, and no one is, showing him grace. I just caught the shirt, showing nobody's showing him grace enough for him to rest or to take that break, and it's just I don't know what is it to say about a society that prioritizes productivity over health. Because that's what we're talking about.
Like, that's the society we live in, right? It's a go. But even when you think about, because you're saying from an internal standpoint, when men come about thinking about having to continue, even though you're tired.
Yeah.
It's like, but if you don't, then that diminishes your self-worth as well to a degree, right? It's like if you say, all right, I'm tired, I'm not gonna do this. Internally, you start to have that battle with yourself that you're not doing enough.
Sure. And that's supported. Like, not to put my wife on blast, but one of her sayings is, but where's your fruit? Like, you working hard, where's the fruit? That should tell you whether or not it's worthy or not. And it's like, okay, well, shit, if I'm busting my ass, what message am I saying to myself if I'm referring to her comment?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing a good job, regardless of how hard I'm working and I'm tired.
Yeah.
You working for nothing. That's how it plays out in my head. So you talking about a value statement being created by a society that's based solely on where's your fruit? And if you don't, like, for people say, well, why aren't more men teachers? Why aren't there more men in social work? Why aren't the people, why are we not out there doing this? Because those roles do not bring home enough fruit for us to be valued by our partners. I'd say in a heterosexual component. I don't know what happens in other homes, but in terms of women and men, it's, I remember there was a time I don't even know if teachers make more than this now. Like the first year teacher is 36,000 or somewhere in there in the state of Georgia. And
when they have to go get like master's degrees to kind of bump their salaries
up, which means more loans, more debt, more debt. And so it makes it hard for that man to produce the life that he wants for his family because that income ratio plays a part in mortgages and income. And if you, God forbid, if you had a kid, there's one thing to be you and her only, you know what I mean? But like you said, I don't know any woman that says, ooh, I want to be a provider. But in this day and age, women are making more money than men.
They are. Yeah.
So it's like, it's a different type of pressure.
Yeah.
You feel me?
And so, and because of that, then that leads the man to go out and say, I gotta go grind. I have to put in more time. I have to, there are men that, that don't want to date women that make more money than them. So they have to go out there and get it, right? And so they're working themselves, as he said, to exhaustion. And then you start to, for me, I start to think about like, where does that come from? Because I'm a grinder. I'm not sitting here like a holier than thou. Like I'm really that type of person. I am the grinder. I am the person that kind of works past exhaustion sometimes. I am the person that does things to the point where sometimes I have to be like, yo, Sam, you gotta chill. And I begin to ask myself, like, where does that come from? Why do I feel as if I have to do all these things? Why do I have to put my hand in all these pots? And why do I can
answer that?
I mean, I started researching, so I think I can answer it too.
Go ahead. I want to hear.
And so what I got from it is, it is, and it sounds crazy because it wasn't me talking to me. It was actually me talking to somebody else on Instagram that was just like, oh, I'm a hustle. I'm always going to hustle. I'm never going to stop, you know? And he's like, he basically was saying like, you know, that's all he does. He's going to hustle. He's always going to be, he's going to work, keep working. And I was just like, bruh, that may be a trauma response. You know, I told him, I sent him, I was like, you know, you got to be careful about that because that may be a trauma response. And in that moment, I was preaching to myself. I'm being real. Like, so like, damn, I just told this motherfucker it's a trauma response, but I know what the fuck I got going on. And
wait a minute, I want to do a reaction on this thing. So, man, where's the little button at? Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding,
go
ding.
Ahead, go ahead.
But yeah, so I told him, I was like, bro, like, I started, you know, thinking about myself the way I grew up. And, you know, I grew up poor, you know, and I didn't have a lot of the things that I wanted growing up. You know what I'm saying? We had a good family, got good vibe. You know, we gelled well, but you know, there was some hungry days. There was some, you know, walking to the grocery store and, you know, there was some of that in the way that we grew up. And I realized that I was just like, I don't want to ever go back to that. And it's like I'm running. I'm saying I'm gonna run away from that. Like I'm trying my best to run away from that and be as far away from that as possible. But this is where this takes a real interesting turn, right? Because we're talking about the grind, right? We're talking about how we know we're tired. We know we need to stop. And we know that it's not healthy for us, but we do it anyway. What does that sound like, Mikhail?
I mean, for me, it sounds like what you said trauma response. That is, it's kind of self-preservation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that too.
So that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, hold on.
Tell me before
you get too far, where I'm going with it is it sounds like addiction.
You know, well, addiction is tied to coping.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
coping, it's a coping
I was
response.
like, yo, this shit sounds like addiction because, like, okay, you know, it's not good for you because you're doing it too much,
right? And
you know, it could potentially hurt you. It could potentially harm you. And then instead of stopping, or you know, sometimes instead of stopping and choosing your family, choosing your time, choosing yourself, you choose that. You choose the work, you choose the money, you choose whatever it is that's motivating you to continue to do this. And I was like, yo, it seems like it's like, oh, they workaholic, right? Workaholic is it's almost like saying like
it's a process addiction. So
okay, there we go. I don't be knowing the terms, but it just said when I started putting it down and thinking about it, I'm like, yo, this shit sound like addiction. And his addiction comes from trauma. It's like that shit kind of fits it together.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's absolutely right. I mean, that's where you can kind of get into the addiction realm where what we're talking about is a process addiction. Is basically like a sex addiction or and any type of addiction is born out of coping with a trauma or coping with some type of injury that you suffered at a point, and this kind of helps you because some people work to escape their thoughts.
Yeah, like
if they took time to rest and sit there and sleep, they may have nightmares. You understand what I'm saying? Like they may have just negative thoughts enter their minds when they're quiet. So they discovered that, you know, when they're working, they can't think about the things that trouble them the most. And that's how they slide into addiction. And it's not a chemical dependence like you would with the substance addiction, but it is a chemical manipulation, if you will. Because if you think about the cortisol that comes from stress, if you're kind of putting things in place, I mean, there is a dopamine response. Let me back up and say this. There is a dopamine response to process addiction. The same way it is for chemical addiction.
Okay.
Right. But dopamine is a reward chemical that is released into our bodies when we accomplish, like we were talking about earlier, how our kids, when they get goals, or they in soccer, or if they score a touchdown or whatever, they get really excited. It's beyond just the excitement. There's a actual chemical reaction that says, do that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of tied into what addiction is you're seeking primarily that emotion, that feeling, thrill seeking, if you will. So, and in substance abuse, that happens because the substance triggers the release.
Okay.
So you'll have the same release of energy and you ain't doing half of the stuff you would do. So that's all it really boils down to. When we're doing Workaholic, the fact that you're able to get the spreadsheet completed, sent off on time, and everybody's like, oh, great job, Sam. That stuff feeds that dopamine center, that reward center.
Yeah.
So it's I could see that angle of it too. For me, it's the grind is really a trauma response to what poverty is. And what it has been for some people and what they think it is for others. It's kind of like, I always tell people one of my biggest fears is sharks. And that's a reasonable fear.
It's a regular fear. Yeah.
But I'm not in the ocean. So I shouldn't be looking around and shit like, who is a shark? So that's what we find that people experience when they're in a trauma response state of mind, is that every second, every minute has to be, in the context of what we're talking about, getting this money.
Yeah.
I gotta get this money, man, because I gotta eat.
Man, you know what?
And I'm like, well, you ate just an hour ago. You can't be hungry.
How much you gotta eat? How much food do you eat? Bro, it's funny because I was watching the show the other day, and I don't know if you watched it. Do you watch Love and Marriage Huntsville?
No, I'm married at first sight.
Okay, all right. Well, Love and Marriage Huntsville is a show about Black entrepreneurs that are in the real estate game, which is, they're in the real estate game.
Yeah, I know the show now. Yeah.
And so there's a guy on there. He's actually bros. His name is Marceau, and they were having dinner, and his wife kind of took him to like a surprise therapy session. He didn't know what was happening, which was bad. That's a bad thing. And she had been saying like there's been a disconnect in their relationship for a little while. And, they never really got into the core of what that disconnect was. But then they got all the couples together. You know how couples do when we get together. We just ask questions. We just drop something on the table, see how things go. Yeah. And kind of get different perspectives. And one perspective that was dropped down on the table, one question that was dropped on the table was like, do you prioritize happiness in your life? Like, is that a priority for you in your life, like happiness? And Marceau, who is a very accomplished commercial real estate developer, is, he's the younger brother of there's two brothers, Marceau, and then there's Maurice. He's the younger of the brothers, but he seems to have a lot of his stuff together. He has the generational wealth building mentality. He's always on go. He's working the land, trying to create a manor for him and all his family to live on, that type of thing. And, it seems as if he never stops, right? He never stops. And his response to that happiness question was, happiness has always come secondary to basically anything I had going on. And what's wild about it is because these past 2 years, he was, he's opened a cigar lounge. He's started a Black-owned champagne company. And, he's doing a lot of things. And he was like, in the midst of doing all of this successful stuff, he said he's been the most depressed that he's ever been in life. Yeah. And so he's like, I've been accomplishing all of these things. I've been grinding and hustling and making money, because we grew up poor And now you're talking about a man whose net worth is north of $10 million, right? And so it's like poverty is not around the corner. Like you said, it's not like poverty is like, gotcha, nigga, surprise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he's still feeling like he still feels behind. And that's what he was saying. It's like, I still feel behind. I still feel like there's more. And I guess he just came to a realization recently that he's traded time for money, and time you can't get back. And he realized, he was like, yo, like, I thought that once I was able to go out here, grind, get to the money, I'm building generational wealth. I have businesses that my family can inherit, my children can inherit. I'm building, on a huge plot of land, trying to put my family on, that's gonna, house, I think it's the Smith Estates or whatever. I think that's his last name. But he's gonna house all of his family there, and he's setting them up, and that's his thing. And I mean, that's kind of my thing too with me and my children. But that's his thing. It's like generational wealth. This is going past me. It's for my grandchildren and that type of thing. And he just found that he just is not happy.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, if we look at it from a historical standpoint, I don't know if you read a lot of biographies and stuff, but I know
I've read some. The biographies are my thing, but yeah,
but it's like I've never read one where it said that the person that we're reading about was happy. Like I've never heard a story told from a happiness standpoint. I never heard whether the Rockefellers really had joy. Like, you know what I mean? It quite frankly, the opposite, right? When you really look at the story.
You're right. It's all just a business setup. This is what the Rockefellers did.
Right.
This is what the Wall. I haven't read
you could see, like, for example, a relevant family, the Bushes, right?
Yeah.
When you look at their setup and how things happen and how George W. ended up spiraling and the things he spiraled into and so on and so forth. But because of his setup by his dad, he was still able to ascend to presidency, and Jeb was able to do what he did. But the family dynamic definitely seems broken.
It does.
And that's why I'm kind of going with it. It's like the issue is from the brother's perspective, Brother Smith, Marcel, is he came from poverty. So he is trained and honed survival skills.
Yeah.
He has not trained and honed living skills. Like, a lot of us know how to survive. A lot of us know how to stretch $5. A lot of us know how to coupon. A lot of us know how to, but the question is, when you get this food, do you sit there and enjoy it and think about the process of how it was made and how beautiful the day was?
Hell, even taste that shit.
Or even taste it going down, right? Yeah. And so it's like, we're not, skilled, if you will, because everything is taught, right?
Yeah.
We're not skilled in how to enjoy life. Like, the turn up is real, but the misery that comes after the turn up, the recovery, is not. Right. So there's a way that you can, there's a way you can enjoy a party without having a hangover the next day.
Yeah, that's true.
But we don't know how to do that. And that's one of the elements that's missing. And that is the core of happiness, the ability to enjoy life, no matter where you are, what you're doing. There are a lot of people that have really signed up for jobs that they hate. I know so many attorneys that hate their work. But they became attorneys because they were told or sold the dream that if you go to law school and you become an attorney, you're gonna ball. That's balling. That's you six figures out the door. And they're just like, oh yeah. And they get into the work and they hate the work.
Yeah.
They don't have any passion for the work. They don't even, but they continue at it.
Well, they go for years. Years and years, sometimes even retired, and we've never enjoyed any piece of
it. Not one piece of it. And that's what I'm getting at, is that it's not so much the grind that's killing us. It's our inability to enjoy life, period. The mindfulness that comes from enjoying life is missing from the skill set, from the toolbox. And that's what it boils down to, because it's like, I want to say, like, one of the trips my wife and I took, we went to, and I talk about it all the time, if you know me personally, we went to like the Maldives. And the trip itself, I mean, coming from the United States cost too much money. So it ended up being like a bonus trip, because we went to Dubai, which is a good, reasonable cost. But when we got to Dubai, the price of the Maldives was nothing.
Yeah.
Bruh, that was the best money we've ever spent. Because when we got there, you could not grind. Speak
on that. I want to hear what you mean by that.
So put it this way, it was beautiful outside, period. Like it was captivating.
Yeah.
Like it literally, when you walked out the door, the visual stimulation was intoxicating. Like you just couldn't stop. You couldn't believe how clear the water was. You couldn't believe how clear the air was. Like I could still see into the solar system during the daytime. Like I can see the moon. Like, that's not normal.
That's kind of cool.
It's crazy.
No, I get the captivating.
Like, bro, at night you can see it. You can see nebulas. So
all the stars, right?
All the stars. And the thing that was crazy, that's what I mean by visually intoxicating. During the day, it was intoxicating. During the night, it was intoxicating. Sunrise and sunsets. We had our laptops, bro, for work. And half the time we would do like a little bit here, a little bit there. But the other time we were just taking pictures and talking and enjoying food. And we were taking pictures of the laptops. I'm like, we working from work. We ain't did shit. But it looked like we were doing it. That we were put in a space where it was so visually stimulating, we couldn't take our eyes off of it. What that looks like here is you have to kind of do it on purpose.
Yeah.
You have to find the spaces that you like. Like, when was the last time we've been to a park and just sat in the grass? Where I take our shoes off and just sit in the grass? When was the last time we did that? And this is to the audience too. It's not just a question for us. When was the last time you laid back on a blanket and just stared at clouds, at the shape of them? Stuff we used to do when we were kids.
And it's the simple things, man.
Bro.
It's the simple things. I think it's life. Just, I guess it puts you in a space where you feel like everything should be so complicated, so complex, or just life is complicated and complex.
Right.
And then you forget to just be. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Mikhail. Like I said, I'm a grindaholic. I got a lot going on. I do a lot, but this past week, my wife has been working. She's been being super busy with her job, and I have had to like step in for the past month and a half and be like super pops. And I bullshit you not, Miguel. Monday, my wife she's back to working regular hours now. And Monday, I logged into my computer like regular, because I was like, okay, this is gonna be a regular week, right? It's gonna be a regular week, And the fatigue that I had when I logged in, I called my boss immediately and I said, hey, I'm tired. Like, I was like, because I usually, you know how it is, like when you want to take off, you usually try to do it in advance. People need to prepare, I just called and I literally said those words. I was like, I am tired. And he knew what was going on. He knew I've been, playing Super Dad the past couple months. And I was like, I logged in and this was supposed to be a regular week for me. So I figured, why take off? Why take off? Because I've been being Super Dad this morning. My wife took the kids to work.
Right.
I took the kids to school. And so I was like, I just can, I got up, I fixed my tea, I sat down and I logged in and I was just like, fuck this.
Fuck this shit.
It wasn't even aggressive, bro. It was really like, I'm not doing this shit today or tomorrow or the rest of this week. Right. I called him. I said, look, man, I can't do it. I was like, I know I usually like put my time in advance when I plan out my breaks. this was just one that I just did not see coming. And I would like to take the week. And when I tell you I took this week, you know, sometimes you try to catch up because I've been behind. Like I got laundry that still need to be washed. Like
part of the frustration is you see the stuff that you haven't done.
I said, bruh, I tell you, I left all that shit. I have not done a fucking thing.
Good.
And I say that with the most sincerity.
Right.
I have not done a damn thing. Not a thought, not anything that triggered me to think. But I've been resting. I even went and got a bed. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get a good fucking bed. Everybody ain't able, so I'm not trying to, you know, look.
Yeah, put it in people's ears that they gotta have it.
At the same time, I was like, yo, let's go get a bed. I need a new bed that gives me, I need some optimum rest.
You need real support.
Bruh, when I tell you, this week has been one of the best weeks I've had in a long, long time. And I've done nothing. And like you said, feet in the grass, look up at the clouds, taste the food when you eat it. Like just those type of things, mindfulness.
Have a productive adult conversation where it's not about tea, tea. Just life. Just
about life. Not even, and you know, me and my wife, we do business together. We was just like, no business. Let's just be. You know what I'm saying? We cut on watching Squid Games, watching people kill each other on TV. And, I mean, and what's funny about that is, you know, I have a tendency when I watch things to dig into the messaging of it.
Right.
But I was just like, no, this needs to be brainless. It's just the motherfucker didn't do green light, red light, got his head shot off.
Right.
He didn't do what he's supposed to.
Just enjoy the carnage.
Just enjoying the moment. And so it's like, I think it's about learning how to deprogram, decompress, and actually learning how to rest, like real rest. And
I mean, you said it, the deprogramming part. I think that's something that we got to spend time on, like deprogramming. What does that really mean? Like we spend a lot of time focusing on, oh, we're adulting, oh, we grown as hell, but are you really
grown ass man, grown ass woman, handle it? But it's like, but we have no handle on ourselves.
That's what I was getting at. But I'm like, are we really? And I think that's the part that I like about what you just said, is that it was something that you recognized you needed it, you took action, and benefited from you taking the action. To me, that's more adulting than anything else. It's kind of like what Jason said in the clip. It was like, you know, that's, you know, the manhood is recognizing that you are not that strong. You're not supposed to be strong like that all the time. Like you're not supposed to be strong like that. Let's get that through our heads.
Drop the line, Mikhail. You know what line I want to hear. Drop the line.
Well, give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace. And you're not superhuman.
Oh, you're not superhuman.
Yes, that's the one.
That's it. I mean, and that's the part about it, is that the message that I would want to get to our listeners, men and women alike, men are not robots. We need rest. We need love. We need affection. We need care. All these things are so anti-man message. But the reality is that's what we're starved for. And a lot of us don't know how to ask for it, to be frank. We're kind of scared to ask for it.
I think my thing, and I think this is directly to men, this is just my question to you, and I think this is my question to myself when I thought about it, is, are you ambitious or are you traumatized? And I think that's the question I've asked myself.
Are they mutually exclusive?
I mean, what I'm saying is, I think you have to sort through it, because I am ambitious, but the thing about it is my ambitions can feed the issues I have from my trauma as well. And so I'm just saying, like, the balance, because ambition overly done is overworking, is workaholic, and overly ambitious can potentially be bad, right? But what I'm saying,
that's why I stopped that. That's why I paused you on that, because when I think about it, and this may be debatable or not, but to me, the healthier version of ambition is passion. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, are you passionate or you're ambitious? Because ambition means that I want $1 million. Maybe I kill a motherfucker for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, are there really limits?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And so it's kind of like, when I think about ambition, I think about Paid in Full. The movie Paid in Full. And it was tied to trauma, the trauma response, right? And it was like, yo, we got to get this money, man. We got to get this money. But really, if you passionate about something, it's going to turn into money because you work for that passion. You're not working to eat. You're working because you're enjoying what you're doing. It's a different space.
What's driving it is different.
It's what's driving it is different.
Yeah, the fuel ambition for it is different.
Ambition has a tinge of anger to it. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
it's an aggression. I get what you're saying. It's an aggression. Passion is a love.
Right.
It's rooted in your genuine feel for it versus.
I got a way to kind of who's a better player in football, the passionate player or the ambitious one? You understand what I'm saying?
Definitely the passionate player.
The passionate player.
You can tell who loves it.
Right.
You can tell who loves it. And the ones that don't, you can tell too. Because as soon as the money ain't right, they ain't coming. They not it just is what it is. But the ones who love it, you can tell.
And that's
because guess what? The money wasn't right with Candace Parker just won the championship. The money wasn't right for her in LA. But she's like, I'm passionate about Chicago. I'm going there. If you're not gonna pay me, I'm gonna go get a ship for where I love.
Right.
Which is my city. It's like
it showed up.
It showed in the way that she played. It showed when she won, the emotion. You could see it. It's like you understood she did something from the passion side.
Right.
Yeah, they paid her, but what I'm saying is the passion.
You can tell the energy is different. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like and that's why I kind of gave pause to what you were saying. I was like, nah, I think they kind of run together.
They run together, yeah, to a degree.
And so I would hope that, and people always say, well, find your passion. That's a whole nother part.
Yeah, that's
the whole conversation. But understand there's a difference in quality of life when you're doing something that you're passionate about versus something that you feel like, I got to get this money.
Yeah.
It's just a different energy when people, and I talk to entrepreneurs often, and they went into the rat race. You know what I mean? They went out to work and they went to jobs that they felt like were going to get them the money that they were trying to, set themselves up with. And they were miserable.
Yeah.
Absolutely miserable. But then they took a chance on starving for real, because that's what entrepreneur is. But it was something that they found, they discovered that they had a passion for, and they're successful at it.
They were able to run with it.
And that's where I come from with this at this point. It's like, bruh, well, let me put it this way. Like you said at the top of the session, it was this, we do this, we have a passion for what we're doing.
Yep.
It ain't made us rich.
Nope.
But you think the time that we commit to it, that it's paying us $1 million, and it's paying us $1 million in spirit and just energy that we gain from it can carry us through the rest of the grind for the day.
Nah, that's true. That's true. I mean, and it's like a reset for us when we get together and have these type of conversations.
Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely.
I mean, to wrap, man, I would say, it's a quote I saw where there's a lack of rest, there is abundance of stress. So, pick pick what it is, you know what I'm saying, that you want to deal with. I'm not saying stress doesn't happen. I just think that we have to prioritize rest. It matters.
I'm gonna just say grind culture is killing us.
Ding, ding, ding. There it is. Whoop, there it is. Well, that is what it is, man. If you guys like the conversation, man, look, interact with us. Let us know what you think. It's You Good Bro Podcast on IG, Facebook. Share this podcast with somebody you know needs it. That's one thing I haven't said a whole lot of, but share these type of conversations with people that you know that need it, because this is what this is about. Each one, teach one, reach one. And so, you know, send it out, share it, interact with us. I am Sam Duke. I am good.
Hey, and I'm Till McKell. I am good.
And just like that, we are out.
We out. Peace.